What's real? What's world? Time is a flat circle.
Alright, so in 3, 2, 1, welcome everyone to the first episode of the Ms.Marvel Spoilercast. It's just a one episode week, thank God. So I'm actually right in what episode this is going to be. So yeah, as always, I'm Mitch. You can follow me on Twitter at 692tweets. And of course, I'm joined by Sean.
Hello. You can join me on Marvel Martian _12 on Instagram.
So.
Oh, you. Here it comes. Go ahead. Say it.
So. Well, what do you think? What do you think I'm going to say?
I'm going to say it's about the powers. I know you're not going to have a problem with anything that happened besides the power. Like, that's... I'm going to put all my chips on the power thing.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I'm going to rebuttal by saying you guys need to move on from the power set and just
Can't help it.
Show, man.
Can't help it.
You gotta.
I
guys gotta stop doing this.
I will say that there was. I don't know if it was me if it's me trying to put things that aren't there or whatever. Mm-hmm. But when it first activates and she throws out the purple shit,
yeah,
and it just like. I don't know. It looks like porridge. It's really,
I think
weird. Like the phone recording of it doesn't pick up the powers, which I thought was really interesting. And I get that it's supposed to be like hard light quotes. Yeah. Hard light. It's
I can hear the disdain in your voice.
It's crystals. Like, let's be honest, it's not hard light. It's crystals.
I can hear the disdain in your voice.
The more time I've tried, I've really tried to get past it. I actually hate it, and it makes it worse. It makes it worse that there's clips of her using these powers, and it's just her power set. Yeah. If you're gonna have the stretchy hair, like, look, if my theory about it being like a Kree thing and it's just showing like it's like a holographic version of what her human powers are gonna be, cool, fine. It's a weird choice to even go this route, but I will accept the fact that they exist to get to that point. Fine, but I don't know that right now. All I have to go off is this.
I think. I say to people, I think you need to allow the storytellers to tell the story.
They can tell their story. I am not going to judge the show based on it. Like they can absolutely tell that story, and I'm not going to stop them from telling that story. It's just it just looks ugly. It looks so bad.
I'm not gonna I don't want to get into this whole I'm not gonna defend, or I'm not gonna get into like a whole thing about defending. Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. There's a choice. There's the choice that they made in the show. That's the choice that they made so far. So I always try to give the creators a benefit of the doubt and allow them to tell the story that they allow, whether I agree with whatever it is or not. And by the end, then you make your judgment on whether that was a good call or not. I see a lot of people just dogging the show for that one scene, and they're allowing this to affect everything else. Like, I think everything around those scenes are probably one of the best in any Marvel show. Like, it captures the comic verbatim.
I'll say, yes,
the family.
I'm not letting the powers stop me from enjoying the show. Like, this is 100% is like.
But I see that.
Is it the exact same as the run? No. Did I expect it to be? No. Are there a lot of similarities? Yes. Is this exactly how Ms.Marvel show should be? Bar that one thing? Yes.
Yeah,
this to me is the homecoming. Like, it is.
I see a lot of people just piling on to the show. I'm not even talking about the racist comments that people make because she's Muslim, and I'm saying, like, I see a lot of people dogging the show and judging the show off the first episode because that one little minute detail, which in context, sure, out of context, I think people need to just, like, I'm not trying to tell people how to watch any show. That's up to them, But like the stuff that I see is just, it's unnecessary. It really is
I mean,
unnecessary.
is there a lot of
Like,
unnecessary stuff? Yes.
yeah.
Is me not liking the power thing a bit unnecessary? Probably.
I'm not.
Probably.
I'm not here to. I'm not here to say internet bad, for doing this.
But internet
It's like,
is bad.
but internet is bad. Yes, but but the thing is like watching one episode out of context. You cannot judge the show. I'm sorry. You cannot, like, there's. It's just it's the meme culture of it all. Like, there's got to be a funny person in there that talks about has to be talked about, and has to be a meme, has to, make funny about, like, oh, this is not the power. It's like, look, guys, I've always felt like Ms.Marvel was more than just the power. Like, the family dynamic is a huge part of the comic.
Obviously she is. Like, I don't think anyone's going to question that, but it's powers in superheroes are their identity, right?
No,
if they came out and went, hey, here's the X-Men, here's Cyclops. By the way, he doesn't have the beams. He grows his nails really long. It's not Cyclops, is it?
Oh, come on. That's unfair. You cannot say, like, what she's doing in the show is not she is.
Look, is that
it's
example really
sure.
Look, I will admit that example is hyperbolic, but it's a drastic change.
I don't think it's true. I think it's
they've taken
a change.
Like, they've taken part of, like, it's not just the powers with Kamala, right? It's you taken half of her story is about who she is, right? Yes, you still have that, but part of that was with the human culture. She was then split between 3 as opposed to 2. You you take that away, and you've taken out an entire third of her character.
But hold on. Are they? Do you really know if they are taking that out of the show?
No, but that's why I've always said, if it comes down to it, that they reveal it at the end, cool, fantastic. I still won't like how we got here and understand why you had to go through these hoops.
I mean,
get to that point. Like, yes, I'm letting them tell their story. I just can't. I can understand that they've made a change called nothing's got to be exact. Fine. It just comes off as unnecessary. If you're gonna do that bit anyway, what's the point in doing this? Like, you get from A to B. There's no need to get like.
The point really hasn't been made fully, anyways. The point is just beginning. Like, they're just beginning.
No, it is just beginning. It is. I'm not gonna sit here and judge everything for it. It's just.
No, but I'm
without
not saying
without the revelation at the end that if this thing does happen, I've got nothing to go off of. They're presenting me chunks of a story every week. I can only go by what they've given me.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And that's it. That's only anyone can ever do, unless you are in a position to know where everything's going to go. If you know where everything's going to go, sure, I can understand the angle you're coming from. I understand it anyway, but it's just like not everyone's in that spot.
But the problem is like everybody, people and look, I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just clarifying this. But like, people are judging this off of a 40-minute. Yeah. But the problem is, like, again, that would be their problem. Eventually they could be proven wrong. But the problem is
but
like
it's like
it distracts from I feel like it distracts from the actual. People are more talking about, oh, this thing sucks because they didn't do this or they changed that. It's like, did they really change the character that much that it's unrecognizable? I
no,
honestly
it's and it's
my
not
answer is no.
unrecognizable. No,
I think
no.
it's I think it's I think it's there's a change in the character that will be more clarified by the end. So that's my problem is like people are harping on one little thing and
But again,
forgetting everything else around it.
but they can, like, yes, the internet can be. It's always been this way, Any
Yeah,
slight change in comics and it's always horrendous. Like it's
I'm not a
always.
social justice warrior type of person, like I'm not going to change the internet and how they think. I'm just pointing out the fact that you look stupid when you like I feel like it's acidine to do something like that instead of watching everything in whole and then making fun of it because that's not what you like. But like it's not an unrecognizable character. She's not growing fingernails out of her fingers. She still has the origin of the character, the essence of the character is all there. It's all there.
Well,
It's
the
just a
origins though.
different. The origin of Kamala Khan is that she's a Muslim. You know, she's a Muslim superhero struggling. Like it's there. The DNA is there. It's not unrecognized. It's just it.
No,
Of course, they're changing
I've always been on the stance that if this was literally anyone else,
Mhm.
everyone would be in agreement. If Spider-Man didn't have what Spider-Man does, everyone would be in agreement with this.
Well, that's I think it's stupid in my opinion. What like so you can't change something because
No, you can, but it's
look,
it's
whether
so
it's well
it's
received or not,
intrinsic to the identity, right? If they came out here and was like,
yeah.
oh, Tony Stark is literally just Colossus, that's why he's Iron Man.
Come on.
Like, no one would like that.
Well, I mean, of course, that doesn't make sense.
It's dumb, right? It's
It
a
doesn't
dumb
make
idea.
sense, of course. But
There you go.
that's not. I don't feel like how that would even. Again, I don't think how that would compare to what they're doing with Ms.Marvel makes.
It's no different to my mind. No different.
Oh, come on.
It's like, right, we're gonna have the iconography of her powers, cool, but and it's
I
what
mean,
gets
maybe
me as
we
well.
need
It's created this conversation of, oh, they're doing it because of Mr. Fantastic. Like, can we shut up?
I'm gonna
Like,
put it.
it's
Look,
so
I'm
stupid.
that's look. I'll put a shutdown on that one. It has nothing to do with that.
No,
It has
but
nothing
here's
to
the
do
thing,
with
though. Everything that Feige and the creators have said about this show regarding this situation and this conversation just adds more fuel to that fire because they haven't given a straight answer. Oh,
Look,
it's because she came out at a
but the
specific
thing-
time. Oh, we
but hold
asked
on, hold
Kevin
on.
about that, and Kevin said, "I don't
But
give an
hold
answer."
on.
Like, it all
If they
leads
give you
to it.
if they give you an answer, don't you think that would spoil something?
If someone asked Feige, "Is this because of Mr. Fantastic?" and he came out and said, "No, it's not going to spoil a damn thing."
I don't know, man.
Doesn't
Like, I
doesn't
think
doesn't
people,
spoil anything. Him
again,
going, "I
people,
can't say," like him coming
I
out
think,
saying, "I can't say anything," literally adds fuel to the fire because guess what? Everyone's taking it that he's saying yes.
well, I
Like,
mean,
he might
everybody
not
needs.
mean yes, but
I
if
think
everyone
people,
takes it that way, then there's something wrong with your answer to that question.
or it's. I mean, maybe the people are jumping to conclusions too. Like that.
Yeah, but
That's an also possibility.
if you're like
Not
if
everybody's
everyone,
perfect
if
when they answer the question.
literally everyone's taking the answer that yes, it's because like his answer means yes, it's because of Mr. Fantastic. There's something wrong with your answer. It's not the whole world is wrong. It's the answer's wrong.
Maybe he didn't answer that question that one time perfectly.
Yeah.
Like he. How many interviews about this has he done about this?
I don't even know, to be honest. Also, the whole
Maybe
thing of
one.
like, oh, she came about at a very specific point in time in the comics, and we're not at that point. It's like, yeah, so she's not going to be human. She's not going to have these powers because of this. Like, that's the impression it gives off. Like, I get Marvel has this whole, gotta be really secretive, yada, blah 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 stuff. Like, if if it plays in detriment to what you're doing, it's not a great thing to be.
But the thing is, like maybe the next answer that he gives about this conversation is different. You know, maybe he gives a definitive answer.
Sure.
But the thing
But
is,
then
like,
which answer do you believe at that point?
I mean, you believe whatever you want to. I mean, at that point, you know, like if people think that birds are gonna poop and fart that propels them, that's their problem. You know, like but the problem is like maybe he didn't answer the question correctly. I say that in quotation marks. That one time in an interview, like, you know, like,
but if that's the only
always
interview he's done about it, and the only time he's answered the question about it, you got to make it
I don't
decent.
know. Like how many? Yeah, but not everybody's perfect at all times. You
No,
know, like
no,
maybe
no,
he
you
just,
know, yes, people
you know,
can
like there's been
misconstrue answers. Like, yeah,
there's
but
always
it's-
been interviews where people take whatever they want to take out of it and run with it. You know, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
how many times I mean, like if he had an interview 6 times about this, you know, I think, and like 5 times out of 6 he had the same answer. You know, people would still go with the first answer. You know, like
I'd question why the other answer is different to the rest of it. Be like,
I mean, look, it's just like it's maybe they don't want to answer that specific question at the time because that might, you know, I don't, you know,
that's
it's
fine. Then don't answer it. Then you know. In
but then
fairness, even not answering the question, people would
I was
still be
gonna
like,
say,
"Oh, it's because Mr. Fantastic." Like,
Tony answering it is probably worse than answering it wrong, you know, because
yeah.
you know, like they're now
But no,
people are just gonna take all. Look, all I say is I don't know. I mean, I like
so,
you
look,
like as a
I'm
fan.
waiting till the end of the show.
As a
I'm
fan, as a fan, I think people need to just like, and I know this this is not going to change anything, but it's just like, you know, maybe take it down a notch and like everybody's got to be in the know about everything at every time. That's the culture now.
yeah.
Like the veil has been lifted, you know, because of the internet and all this other stuff, and now everybody seems to have the answer to everything at any point, and then. But I don't know, man. I think people are just so dialed
Like,
into one detail that they forget about the whole.
no,
Like,
I agree with you completely there. Judging the entire show from the one thing is wrong.
well,
This
I
first
seen.
episode is fantastic. It is 100% Kamala,
I
95% Kamala Khan.
well, I mean, I seen like two. I mean, 2 times with the same thing. Oh, the power set sucks. I don't get it. I don't like the show. It's like, how do you not like a show after 40 minutes of 6 episodes or whatever? You know, like I feel like the power. Like, I'm not so set on, as a fan. I am not set on, if they change the character fundamentally, that's a different story. But I don't feel like they changed Ms. Marvel so fundamentally that it's unrecognizable. Like
But I think it
right
depends on the
now,
definition of fundamental, right? It's
she's a Muslim
my
character,
whole thing with powers is the identity. It's like the powers are
but
fundamental to the character.
but isn't being Muslim an identity too?
No, it is, but you can have more than one thing to be fundamental to a character. If you only
I
have
think
one
people are,
fundamental for a character, it's a one-dimensional character.
no, I think the people are a little stuck on one detail and they can't get past
I
that
agree.
detail.
There are going to be people out there. You're always going to get people out there going to have
No,
one
I
little
mean,
thing that's going to
I'm
put them off the entire thing. You're always going to get,
well, I'm
people
saying
flip
in
shit in
general.
Homecoming that he didn't have the spider sense, despite clearly having it. You just have to use your brain a little bit to see it. Like,
Well, I
you're
think
always
in
going to
general.
get that. Like, you're always going to have like stuff like that, and people are going to take one little thing and run with it.
Well, I think in general that people forget about the. I feel like the heart in the show was the family dynamic and like the
No,
feel
I
everything
100%
around
agree.
it.
I 100% agree that it was.
I think the power set is not inherently. It's not so important that I forget that the character is not recognizable. I'm sorry. It's just not like I love that character
I mean, I'm not
just
saying
as much as
she's not
everybody else.
recognizable. I'm not saying
Well,
she's
I'm
not
saying
recognizable. I'm saying
I'm
like
not saying
it's
you are. I'm not saying that you are saying that. I'm saying I've seen that in the zeitgeist that the character is so unrecognizable because of this one little minute detail that might not even be 100% kept in the show by the end. Like it, I understand that people can only judge what they're shown, sure, but they are taking it to the nth degree with this show sometimes, And then,
No,
like, on top of that,
people do. People will always do that. It's
well, yeah, of
never
course,
gonna be.
people are always going to do that, but then they're going to miss out on probably one of the greatest shows that they
And
put
that's
out.
their problem, innit? Here's the thing: they're not going to stop watching it. They will carry on watching.
Oh no, those are the people that they talk smack about it, but they're the first people that watch. They're up till 12 o'clock in the morning waiting for the show to debut. You know, so
I wish it
I'm
was
not
only
worried
12.
about that.
Try 8 in the morning. I can't even stay awake for these things.
That sucks.
It does. It's nice to
But
nice to wake up to stuff, but I kind of rather watch it when everyone else does. I feel kind of left out.
But like, I love the aesthetic of the show. I love how it. This is better than.
This has my favorite text message edit of anything. How no one's thought of doing like that before, I do not understand, but it is actually genius.
This is better than the depiction of high school life is in here is better than like the Spider-Man stuff, and that's saying a lot because I really love what they did with the Spider-Man stuff, but like this, I think it takes it down to a relatable level, you know, because like
because isn't the school that Parker goes to like quite
it's a tech school or something like that. It's like a very smart school.
Yeah, it's like a posh school, isn't it? Right.
But like this is like a when I lived in New Jersey, I lived in Jersey City for a long time, and this like I made me miss New Jersey a little bit, you know. But like it, you know, I think it depicts, and I've talked to people that are Muslim in descent. They said, man, the family dynamic is perfect. You know, it's almost like it's like, and it also translates really well from the comic because the look on the father, like when they were gonna take Kamala to Avenger Con, and like her father came out and the Hulk thing, the look on his face when she went off on him, I almost cried, man. It was hurt, you know, like it was really hurtful, you know, like but you know, I love the Avenger Con, how small it was and intimate, you know. Like,
see,
I feel
now
like
that's a detail that when people complain about it does my head in. Oh, Avengers Con, why was it so small? It's like it's a first con. It's not going to be huge. They're never huge.
I get out of that. It's a fan thing where fans put that together.
100%. Yeah.
It was not a New York Comic-Con thing. It was just like, hey, this is in New Jersey, guys, and this is like all these people are high school kids. It's something that they put together.
And there's people going like, why is everything in one room? It's like because it's in the room where Cap was born. Like it's in a bunker. Like it doesn't matter. Like they obviously haven't got enough that big of a space, so everything's in one room. Like it's kind of rich coming from me. He's like stuck on the powers thing, but like being stuck on that Avengers Con, the size of it and how it's presented, you're being kind of dumb. Like it's not something to get up on.
If I could describe the first episode, in one word, I would describe it as adorable. You know, like it was.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been pumping Iman. Casting fantastic, straight down the line. Like from Iman to Bruno, you know, to everybody, you know, that's, I think, important to me as a fan is like they get all that right. You know, like everything else, like I as a fan can live with a little change because that's just how it is.
See, right, I can live with change because the characteristics of the dad and the mum, right, are the other way around in the comics. The dad's not like all loosey goosey like he is in the show. That's fine. That's totally fine. Like that dynamic that didn't matter a damn thing. You can absolutely change that.
I would just say patience.
I am giving it the like if by the end she still got him, and even by the Marvels she still got him, and I don't get what I want. Fine, I just not buy the hot toy because I can't do that. I just I can't look at that crystal shit anymore because I think it's disgusting. Actually,
fair enough.
But yeah, I will live with it. because they've got her right.
Yeah.
The characteristics they've got right. Is the character 100% right? No, but she's right there.
Is the character of Tony Stark or Captain America 100% right? No, I don't think so. Not comic-y. You know, like there are always slight changes. Even
Which Captain America? Because let's be honest here, right? I'm gonna make a. It might seem like a very convenient argument to make, right?
Uh-huh.
They're two characters that they took from vastly different runs over the course of 60 years. So there's different versions. Like obviously you're gonna cherry pick the characteristics and put them all into one blender and get what you get out of it.
Okay.
There's only one Kamala.
Well, I mean, not really. Not as of now. I mean, there's plenty of.
Where's the other one? There's no other versions of Kamala Khan running about. Like she's had like that one run she's had has been going for like 10 years. Actually, it's not been going for 10 years. It has been chopping on enough, but like you know, she hasn't been around long enough to have like a drastic character change.
Yeah,
she's always been that same. Whereas, like, yes, Tony and Cap have had different iterations and they've acted differently over the course of the years. Kamala hasn't had that yet. She also hasn't got, like, say, the Ultimates, where you had like the more of a slightly racist Captain America.
God, thank God for that.
Even though the MCU took from that version of Cap, like, you know, you haven't got that.
I don't think Chris Evans could pull the racist off. So
I mean, with the tash that he's been walking around with, like I can see him doing the whole France bit from the Ultimates, man. But that's neither here nor. But no, like, that's. I think you can cherry pick more with the older characters, whereas you know if they like Miles, like.
Can you hold on?
Miles hasn't been around long enough to do it either. Like, in fact, any of the champions, I don't think you can do it. But whereas, like the Young Avengers, you know, Kate Bishop's a vastly different character in her books now than she was in the Young Avengers first volume. Vastly different character. She's more like Clint from the Fraction run than anything else. Where she wasn't like that before. Whether that's because like the style of comics, you know, mid-2000s grim gritty was the thing, and then the 2010s was more like upbeat and slightly jokey. Like, I don't know if that's, you know, maybe the next decade Kamala will be different. I don't know, but I don't think you have as much to go around.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm not really. I don't know. I'm not beholden to the power set as much as everybody else is. You know, I feel like you know, it's almost like the MCU. Like there are changes to move the bigger story along, right? So she's going to be connected to Ms. Marvel in some way. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, I that bit I think. Like, I can, you know, pie in the sky. If they're doing the whole thing of right, well, you have Carol Danvers, you have the Kree humans, and they play it that way, and it's just taking a long way round to get to a point where maybe you didn't need to go a long way around.
Well, I think
fine.
Look, there was a lot
fine.
There was a lot of damage done to the Inhumans name with that TV show, so I wouldn't mind.
There was a lot of damage done to Scarlet Witch and Iron Man in the mid-2000s.
It's true, but
obviously not on a bigger scale.
This is recent. This is a recent hurt. You know, like there's a lot of like I don't know. You know, there's got to be a lot of. I mean, who's to say that she's not connected to the Inhumans? I think people just. I think fans
right now
just
the show. You know, purely because like there's no mist. There's no obviously. I don't expect to mention them straight away. Like, yes, fine. The bracelet could have a crystal in it. Whatever. That's if that's the case. Totally cool. Totally cool. Totally fine.
Who might know? Nah. might be, you know, inhuman. Who knows? You know,
It's just
I know.
it's
I
especially
get,
you know that they come out. You know, the one bit I would have expected them to change, the one singular bit, and I might have been okay with it, depending how they handled it, was the suit.
Mhm.
No, she's literally essentially wearing like a bikini, like not a bikini. That's not the right word.
Burka.
No, I wasn't even gonna say burqa. I can't remember what they called it in the books. They say something. No, I totally can't remember what it was called. But you know, it's not. The suit's nothing in the books.
Yeah.
And yet
I think.
it's like, obviously it has some importance. You know, it's got like family jewelry on it. It's got the sash because of, you know, the Ms.Marvel sash. It's got the lightning bolt. But you know, the whole thing with the humans and humans not being around, it's like, right, cool. But we're going to change that for that. Carol Danvers has never had the lightning bolt in the MCU. So why has Ms.Marvel got the lightning bolt?
I don't know. Maybe she's making it her own.
Yeah, but she made it her own anyway. Like, it's just weird. I don't know. There's some. It's just. I was just trying to understand changes and why.
Oh, I mean, trying to understand things on a 40-minute episode is hard, right? You're gonna come
Oh
up with
yeah,
more stuff.
there's that. Yeah.
You know, like it's hard to make a hard definitive decision about a show or anything on a 40-minute time limit. So I think maybe some of these questions will be answered in the show. Who knows? I mean, but like
I mean, I assume so. Yeah.
I'm assuming too. You know, but like I mean, if it was like the third episode and we were asking these questions, then it could be kind of troublesome. You know,
I mean,
worrying.
I'm expecting.
Then you.
I'm expecting
But
the.
what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, I'm expecting the TV show formula that's been very prevalent with these shows.
Yeah. Well, I
For better or
mean.
for worse, I'm expecting exactly that.
I mean, people can call it formula or wherever, man, but like it's just. I mean, like we've already seen people change try to be implemented in the MCU and how it received. You know, like
No,
it's you know.
I find that funny, right? You had the whole thing with the movies, and the movies like Phase 4 is drastically different to all itself. And yes, the show none of the shows are the same, but they have the exact same structure.
That's how you make TV shows, man.
No, but it's like
I don't know how else to explain it to you. I mean, like that's.
No,
I mean,
no,
there
it's
is
like
a formula,
obviously, like you're gonna have a structure, but it's like it gets to the fourth episode. This exact same thing happens through every show. Oh, we're gonna hold the villain back until the end. That's what I mean. Like that's not just a TV show. That's more. That's not a generic TV show thing.
Nah, I mean, you could call it whatever you will. I mean, like, make a TV show and see how you make it. Like, that's how I can say it. Like, that's how a thing is. You know, like, there's a structure, there's a formula. Like, sometimes it's broken, sometimes it's not. You know, like, you know, I don't know. I mean,
No,
like,
no.
I find that argument kind of. I don't know. Like every time I hear the word formula or this argument, like this discussion happen, I'm just like kind of like, I kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, you know, these people that say these things obviously have never made a TV show or a film.
No, but I don't
or a
think
TV
that
show.
should stop anyone from being able to say that. Because like, if you look at Lost, right? Let's take one show. You take Lost. Lost has a vastly different plot structure and everything else compared to The Flash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
those two shows aren't following the exact same thing. Like it's not a generic TV show.
I don't like the word generic because it's not generic. I don't think so. I think that's kind of. I find that kind of insulting when people say that.
But I mean more. No, these shows have a common structure.
I mean, again, you know, I don't know how else to explain it. You know, like like if
We haven't got to explain it. Like it's just the case of like these
structured,
shows all do very similar
it's
things to each other.
okay. I mean, that's just how it
That's
is.
what
I
I'm saying.
mean,
I'm not saying
no, I
it's
mean,
inherently a
I
bad
just,
thing.
but I see that argument all the time as a negative,
You might do,
and
but I'm not saying it in the way they're saying it. Like,
no, I'm just saying like it's just how stuff works. Yeah, I mean, like I, I I feel like those people have never written or produced or anything had
no,
done
but the
anything in
like the
that
but let's
universe.
be honest, the vast majority of people haven't and will never do that. They'll never get the opportunity to
Yeah.
do it, whether they can or can't. That that shouldn't stop people from being able to point out something like that.
Obviously, no. It's called free speech. You can say whatever you want to, but is it correct? Not always. Like
No, it's not. No, obviously it's not always going to be correct, but
but you see that I can't
like,
stop people from saying that, but like
why is it incorrect here?
I don't follow. I don't see how it's incorrect.
But why? Is what
Why
I'm
is it
asking.
incorrect?
Yeah.
Why is it I don't think it's incorrect. I
No, but you're saying that my thing about the whole like quote formula is incorrect. Like, why is that incorrect?
Nah, I mean, I didn't say it was incorrect. I just said it was just like hear that all the time, and it becomes tiring. Like it's like describing a movie as dark and gritty. Like after a while, those words just become like just words. Like sure, it has a formula. Everything has a formula, right? Like it's just different. I don't know. I never said it was wrong. And if I did, sorry.
No, it's just anyway. Let's
Hmm?
let's move off.
Let's go on.
Let's move off from that one.
I understand why people might be. I don't want to say tired of it, but like people still watch the shows, but they complain about it though, right? It's Then stop watching the show if I'm talking to the people that are complaining about it, not anybody specific. I'm saying if you don't like this and it's a negative, then you should probably stop watching the show because like
See, now that
or
I
stop
don't
watching
agree.
shows in general
That I
because
don't agree with personally.
well, I mean,
You
if you're
can
gonna
still
complain
you
about
can
it,
watch a show and have problems with the show and
yeah,
still
but like
watch it.
what happens is like the conversation stops being a conversation and it starts becoming a vulgar, just conversation about insulting how stupid the show is. That's where it becomes most times.
Yeah, but
And
that's in a different context, right?
but
Because
that's how it becomes that because people go, oh, this is suck because it doesn't follow this or it does this all the time. It's like, all right, well, maybe it's not for you. Like to complain about it is pointless. To stop what if you're complaining about something and you're constantly complaining about it, saying it's the same thing, same thing, same. The most powerful thing is to do is stop watching the show. Then the company goes, oh, maybe this is not working. Maybe we should try something different. But it's the same thing with buying something and then complaining about like how it tastes. If you continue buying it, then you're just continuing the cycle, correct?
yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying, like like I hear the conversations like, oh, these are the same, they're predictable. It's like, well, then I don't. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you should move on to the next thing. Maybe the next show will get you. I don't know. Like everybody seems to have an answer to everything that somebody does creatively, and like I feel like if you're gonna have this conversation, I feel like when people have these conversations, they should really try to do something creative and see how it works out. Because then you'll have an actual knowledge of how it works. Because you're going to get a lot of rejection. You're going to get a lot of people going, "Oh, this sucks. Oh, this you should do this." Like that's how
Yeah, but
I look at it.
it's so easy to say, oh, you should go out and do something. Not everyone can.
Yeah, but then like
Not
don't
everyone's
be.
going to be in a situation
I,
to be able to go, all
I
right,
look.
cool, I'm going to make a
I'm
TV show.
saying what I'm saying is corrective criticism's welcome, sure. But like when you start saying, "Oh, rewriting the script and saying, "Oh, this should have been here, this should have been there. Oh, they did it wrong. This would have worked out better if it this way." How do you know that they didn't try to do it that way and it didn't work out? And it falls into like CGI story. how it looks, the aesthetic, the actors, and stuff like that. It's like if you can, I always have some of the best conversations I've ever had with people about this stuff is like the people that have actually done this and done something, because they understand that it's not always works out this way. It doesn't always, the costume doesn't work out because it doesn't look good on screen. The story doesn't work out because we have to rewrite something and take something out or put something in or something, like the people.
I completely 100% get where you're coming from. Like, yeah, it is that.
But it's like
I can't think of the terminology where people act like they know everything about something.
The
I can't think what it's called.
Couch back quarterback. I don't know, whatever it is, because
it's that's like a term for it. Yeah, but it's actually
everybody seems to have an easy fix for anything that happens.
Yeah, but it's not. Like, is it ignorance? Yes. Like,
I don't want to
it's one of those. I mean, I don't find ignorance insulting, to be honest. But that's just me. It's like it's just a general word for someone who doesn't know anything. Like, not knowing. I'm ignorant on a lot of stuff, right? I don't. Like, I will say I'm ignorant on a lot of stuff. I don't find.
If I would have said ignorance, they would have been like. Or if anybody else that would have been saying the word ignorance, it would be different. It would be taken drastically different, so I don't want to insult anybody about this. All I'm saying is I think the conversation sometimes is most times better when you're talking to a person that understands how everything works, because they understand where things are coming from, where fans just want to see things. They want things on screen. They want things to be told the way it is, and if it isn't, it's stupid, or it's dumb, or it's it's whatever it is. It's any buzzwords you can add into that conversation. It's because they don't.
I mean, let's be honest here. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Just because someone's made a thing doesn't mean it's right.
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not saying that. But I'm not. What I'm saying is
it's
that person actually has put themselves out there and
you
done
can
it.
Apply the same. You can apply this exact same argument to things like how Batman was in The Dark Knight Rises and all that, where he's not fighting; he's just elbowing people. Like,
what I'm saying, all I'm saying is yes, it's not always right, but the fans don't always have the answer either.
No, they don't.
Whatever answer they have, it's not normally either it's unrealistic and you can't do it, or B, it just doesn't work out. And
that's where I was going with the ignorance bit, right? Because it's not willful. It's not a conscious choice to be ignorant on that situation.
No.
It's just it's something where you don't know how something gets made. You're not going to be aware of how something gets made. You no one's going to know that until you actually go do it. Yes, fair enough. You are 100% right on that. But it's just because you don't know doesn't mean you're inherently wrong in everything.
No, I just think that I don't know. My point is I think that people. Fans
yes,
sometimes
do people go way off? Yes,
100%.
Yes. Nuance has been lost in our day and age.
And I'm just gonna be point blank. I'm not trying to insult anybody in the audience. I'm just saying, in general, I'm not better than anybody else. But I do I think sometimes fans have unrealistic goals, and they don't with everything there has to be the one thing about the MCU that is a negative. I think sometimes it's there's always mandates, and when I say mandates, I don't mean they mandate to do this or you don't do it, but there are things that they have to follow to continue the story in the bigger picture. And sometimes that doesn't work out. Sometimes it diverts from what the character is about, but I know for a fact that they at the very least with Kevin Feige and everybody, and they try their best kind of keep it in that that range, but it's like sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Whether fans like it or not, I don't know. That's their decision. But like my point is like when it always gets down to the fact that like me personally, I kind of sometimes get insulted by people that think they can do something better than anybody else, and that their solution is better because it makes more sense when it comes out in words. But when you put it down on paper and then you try to physically make it, it doesn't always work out. Like the Taskmaster thing. I'll take a very small detail as an example. The Taskmaster thing. They tried to make the suit more combat accurate. It just didn't work out. So they did something that made sense in the movie and that was as close as possible. But some people felt like it was like a kick in the balls that the Taskmaster didn't look like the comic. And this example is just a small.
I would agree with that. Like that is a change where it's like, yes, looking at it practically. I'm not even a fan of Taskmaster. It's just going to come off completely biased. Like that suit would look like it looks like shit. Right? It's not a good suit. No. It went the more Udon route. That's the route I was hoping. So I was happy with that one. I don't know, it's just.
I understand like the power thing. I do. But in me as a fan, it doesn't bother me as much. It just doesn't. Like I don't feel like it's like a whole like divergent from the character. It's like, and plus it's just I want to make before I make a and this is with anything. I try to make a very educated guess or talk about it when the whole thing is completely done. Then if it doesn't jive with me, then I talk about it. But like I see in every comment, in every thread, and every site, it's always focused on that one little small minute detail, and they completely forget about everything else. And that's the hard part.
I just think that it just says a lot about the character more than anything. Like it's it's a visual identifier, right? It's no different to the suit. You see the giant hands and the stretchy legs and whatever. Mm-hmm. It's Ms.Marvel. You absolutely know it's Kamala Khan. It's part of who, like the visual identifier of that character, and the visual identity of comic books in general is half of it. The fact that you can see, it's not just text on the page. You get to see everything. It's part of it. It's part of who they are.
But do you think it's such a big change that it diverts the character completely?
No, but I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. The fact that there's a lot of stretchy stuff in it, and it's the same iconography as her powers, makes it even more weird. The fact they've gone to this length.
I mean, like I can't really talk about like specifics or anything about it, but
it's also it's the fact that she does have the stretchiness is why I still have that little. I'm by my fingertips here on the edge, trying to hold on. But it's kind of hope that they're going to go the route that I want them to go in.
But like at the very end, at the end of the episode, as long as the character is completely right and like that power set is still there, you feel like that's a fail?
What, you mean she keeps the crystal stuff?
Yeah,
Well, define fail, because I
mean,
if she acts like Kamala Khan and she still has the crystals, like I'll live with it. I won't. I'll never be happy with the crystal stuff because that's not.
I mean, you're across the bear.
It's just not Ms.Marvel to me. I'm not entirely sure how to explain.
I understand what you're saying. Is like you feel like as long as she doesn't have the stretchy powers, it's not really a correct version of the character.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, to an extent.
I mean, it's sure. I mean, but like define correct version of the character. Like as long as the character is acting like the character, and there's again a small minute detail, as long as the
Yeah, but
projection.
this is the thing. I don't consider it a minute detail. I will never consider powers minute. It's they have like the Hulk. Right, cool. Let's do the Hulk in reverse. Bruce Banner's the muscle one, and the Hulk's the skinny one. He's no longer green. He's in the bodysuit.
Well, what you're saying to me is what they're projecting as Captain or Ms. Marvel in the show is the same as if they had a skinny Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Like, it's just crazy to me, man. Like, it's still
it's a visual identifier for the entire thing.
I mean,
it's
your,
just as important as everything else. I will never ever.
That's your opinion, and I'll never try to stop you from having your opinion. But to me, that's crazy. Like,
that's fine.
To me, the character, as long as the character is acting like the character, and like everything is there except for like 0.25% of what that you see in the comics is not there. It's just projected in a different way.
That's the thing, though, right? It's you think it's a minute detail. I don't.
Okay. I mean,
if we had Daredevil,
my apologies for making that assumption, but like as long as Batman's wearing a bat suit, and throwing batarangs,
you're a fan of Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
Change everything about that power set. Is it still Daredevil?
Look, you can change. Look, as long as the character acts like the character, look. If you give him eye beams, yeah, that's a weird
right.
choice.
What if Matt Murdock isn't blind?
I mean, look, I'm open to any interpretation as long as it works for me. I'm not like.
And what if it doesn't?
If it doesn't, then I just don't watch the show. I don't.
But even if like Matt Murdock was 95% Matt Murdock,
or I watch the show and enjoy it for what it is and just be done with it, and I don't.
I'm speaking more in like general. Like they came in the comics and went, right, cool, we're gonna make Matt Murdock this.
I mean, look, I'll give
95% the thing. Like the character's exactly the same, but this one for you, minute details different. Right.
If it's a good show and it makes sense in the context of the show, I'll give it a chance. It doesn't really upset me to a point where I'm like raising my arms and going, this is done. I don't like this anymore. Like as long as the key core character is there, and like if it works and it makes sense, sure, I'm game for anything. I'm not such a stickler on anything. If the character, like I love Daredevil, and I've said that a million times, and I'm sure you understand how much I've talked about it. I could probably marry Daredevil if it was a physical character. But like if they decide that it's a good, if it fits whatever the storyline that they're doing and it makes sense that it's good, I'm not gonna argue with it. I don't hinge the show on the enjoyment of the show on something that is small, and that's just my opinion. Like it doesn't bug me as long as
I'm just saying like I'm not saying the show specifically or as a show. I'm just saying like for any like just strictly comics. If they just change one thing,
I don't get like again if it works in the context of whatever they're telling, I'm game. I'm not like such a hyperbolic person where I'm like, if this doesn't work out, it doesn't look like if as long as the character acts like the character and like does it makes sense to me, then I'm game for any change. I understand that like some things can't work on on stuff. I don't know. I'm not such a hyperbolic person. I'm sorry. That's just not me.
I don't consider it hyperbole at all.
I'm not hyperbole. I'm saying hyperbolic. I'm not.
Yeah, it's literally the exact same word.
Okay, sure. Anyways, I'm not beholden to anything. As long as it works for me and it makes sense, I'm game. Like it's like that with everything. Like I don't get upset about something that is changed. Look, if it turns out that if it's such a drastic change, okay, sure, I'll watch the show. If I enjoy it, I enjoy it. If I don't, I don't. But I don't raise my arms in the air and going, "Oh, they did nothing wrong. They did it all wrong." Like there's so much other stuff going on in the world. This show does not mean, if they don't get this one right, then I'm not upset. Like it seems like the whole fandom gets flared up about certain things, and it's just like, man, if you, I don't know. This is my opinion. Again, I'm not.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's fair.
That's fair.
It's just, I'm not just saying that to be contrarian or anything like that. It's just this is how I am. Like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm not going to be upset about it.
I would be. I would be upset.
Very petty person, man. Very petty.
No, because I know this is dominating the entire thing.
Like,
entire
and I understand, man. I understand, like, certain, like, certain people are very protective about their things, and I understand that. It's not, but it just doesn't affect me as, as, as,
I always thought, I was like, you can change certain stuff, it's fine, but I've always got, like, there's things that I don't want to see different. If they're different, then you lose a lot of what draws you in for that character.
I mean,
I think as well, because
if the character wasn't Muslim, I think that's a huge change. That's a fundamental change.
Oh no, 100%. Like, yeah. That would be a far bigger.
But that's just.
In the powers.
I think that's just an example of like how big of a change. Like that is a huge change to a character. The way the powers are presented in the show, it's presented in a way that it is the stretchy powers, right? In a way.
Yeah, but it's also different, right? Because the first thing she does isn't anything to do with stretching. She's just like growing a plane of glass, and it's like, okay, what am I supposed to be looking at?
Sure. I mean,
it also, it's when Kamala came out, they'll like, I know the creators are working, like the original writers of the book are working on, like, they've done stuff for this show. But you go back a decade ago, it's like, oh yeah, we didn't want to give the little girl this sparkly, pretty powers and all this stuff. You wanted to have this girl with these what people would think are disgusting, and like, yes, people did, and that's the entire point. And I think like that was part of that character.
Yeah,
that's a big part of, like, girls don't have to be the sparkly, pretty thing. And
I think
now they come out. Now that they come out with just these sparkly, pretty crystals, and this.
I honestly, I think this conversation is a little too early to have, because we're talking about
it very well might be, but like, again, they've only given us the one episode. Everything in the marketing's had, which by the way, the marketing was not great. The marketing did not do the show justice from one episode. That was kind of crazy. Like,
I don't know, man.
From everything we've seen, it's in, that's probably, I say probably, like, thinking on it, that's 75% of the reason why I don't like what they've done with it. It is in direct contrast to what her powers are supposed to be.
I think it's just, I think just people are just focused way too much on that one little detail, that they are just missing out on everything else. That to me that's just my assumption about, like, a session of.
I mean, you're probably, like, a lot of people out there. Yeah, sure. Am I doing it? Yeah, 100%. Like 100%. I do it.
I'm not saying people specifically. I'm just saying in a broad way. I think people are just they're missing the actual heart of the show, because of,
I 100% agree. Writing the entire show off because of the powers is dumb. It is absolutely dumb. It's
I don't want to say dumb. There's nothing dumb about anything.
No, but I will say it is dumb.
It's just
straight up dumb.
To me, it's sad to see, because it's like we're missing the family. Like, I always thought the most important part, again, is the family dynamic, and like her being, you know, she is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm been wrong.
It's a huge part of that character, right? The whole family dynamic and how she exists in two worlds at once, or three, depending on the correct version. Marvel, but... it's a huge part of that character.
This is going to be an interesting conversation at the end with Jared, though. I can tell you that, because
I don't know what Jared thinks about it. I can't remember ever having a conversation with him about the powers.
I think I heard something. I don't know. Maybe I'm.
So I can't.
I don't know.
To be fair, Jared's far more articulate than me, so you'll have something to.
Oh, yeah, he's way more articulate than I am. I'm 90% and huh, and then I just, when he starts talking, I just allow him to talk and just sit back and relax.
Yeah, that's what I do.
But it's
because I adored this episode. Absolutely, start to finish, it is 100%, 95% Kamala Khan. I'll give it. I wouldn't have normally said 3/4, but I'll give it the 5%.
You're very generous.
And I am trying. It's just I can't.
When I'm saying all this, I'm not zeroing in on anybody specific. I'm seeing it because of what I saw online. Yeah. I'm narrating what I see. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's unfortunate to see these things said.
It is. But it's one of those. In fairness,
it's important to some people. Right?
It just seems incredibly avoidable. You could have avoided it. Completely avoided it.
Sure.
But hey, here we are. No. Well, speaking of someone who's never made anything, who's never going to have the opportunity to make something, it's completely avoidable from my perspective.
Yeah, well,
especially if we end up in that spot anyway, it's like you could have avoided.
No, look. Whatever your opinion is valid, just like everybody else's opinion. But I'm just more zeroing in on the whole, the vulgarness of it all. That's the sticker.
People do go too far with it.
It's just there's a line and people cross it all the time, and maybe I should be more not as sensitive about it, But it's hard not to be sensitive when you see things that are really just super negative. I mean, it's never gonna stop, but it's just unfortunate. That's all. It gets me a little riled up.
Yeah. No, no one can fault you for that because everyone gets riled up about something.
Always. Yep.
Someone's always gonna get mad about something. It's totally
and I'm not always right. I'm 90% wrong. So who knows? I'm a wrong person all the time. Ask my wife. She'll tell you.
I'm. Despite it, I know this whole conversation has been dominated by the one thing.
But
at the end of the day, if it gets it out of my system, we can properly enjoy and talk about the rest.
Yeah.
Of it, so.
Hopefully, we're all good, and then next episode we can talk about
until they call her a genie. Then I got a real fucking problem.
How adorable her father is.
He's better not call her a genie.
Actually,
burn something down.
You might kill someone.
Tiki torches. No, I ain't having that. But yeah, literally 98% of this episode I adored.
Yeah.
I actually adored it. It's 100. It's just what I wanted from this Marvel show.
Yeah.
The marketing didn't do it justice in the slide. To be fair, the marketing was very dominated by the power conversation as well, which is unfortunate. But
yeah,
any press is good press, right? I suppose.
Yeah, and I'm very sad that I was not in New Jersey to see the standee that was in right above.
Because they had her on the sign, didn't they? The road sign. Yeah, that was. I feel sorry for people driving past that. I shit myself.
That is the one time I missed being in New Jersey. Man. To see that.
That's what I was gonna. Right. There's a shot right at the beginning when because we're going to carry this on a little bit longer, actually. When her mother's talking about how she comes from a line of daydreamers, right? They're driving past the skyline, and I'm not sure if it's. I'm pretty certain it's the Jersey skyline or whatever. But the buildings are wonky. Like they lean over left and right, and it's really weird. And I'm like, is this actually what Jersey looks like?
No, I think it's her perspective. Like,
I hope so, because like all the buildings were like leaning over and stuff, and it's just whatever architect did this city skyline needs to be slapped.
The buildings are old in Jersey and New York, but like not that old, not old enough to get slightly turned to the right. But it's
like a curve. It's like it's not even. It's weird.
I love the aesthetic of the show, like the
opening with the paper mason thing is brilliant. I adored that. Actually, I adored the entire episode, to be honest. Apart from
the thing that we shall not be named, right?
Literally that asterisk. Literally loved all of it. Asterisk.
Yeah.
If it comes to it at the end, I will not take anything back. I will just enjoy what I've got.
If anything, it will make the rewatch a little bit more bearable for people, I guess.
Yeah.
The point will be the end of that, but I don't know. I think from seeing what I've seen almost every episode so far, and I think there's not one tough one, that I've seen. I haven't seen the last one, so, but like, I don't know, I love the cast. The casting's pitch perfect as usual. I don't know. I love her, man. She's adorable.
I was gonna say she's
so adorable, man. She's
protect that girl at all costs. Right.
She's got a big future in the movie. So yeah, if you don't like her, then you might not want to watch the next couple years, man. She's gonna be a big part of it. So
see, I haven't seen anyone talk bad about Iman yet.
No, I haven't seen it. Well, I see the racist ones, but
I haven't even seen those people.
I've seen a couple, and I'm like, man, it's the usual suspects,
So the only thing I've seen is I think it was one of the double fuck racist channels saying that it's the lowest rated show, and I'm like, what? On what backwater site have you found that it's got bad reviews? Like, I'd love to know this.
On the all white, blue blonde, blue eyed.
Just like,
they're gonna push their narrative as much as they can.
But
and then the review bombs of the usual.
I had heard of the review bombs on IMDb, actually. Yeah.
So, and I think they turned. I think to Rotten Tomatoes credit, they did turn off I kind of glanced over, and I think they turned off the fan. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, because it's just like, come on, man, like. Stop.
I will never understand the want and the need to go
the extra mile.
That's like a legitimate thing. Like it is.
Well, America.
Like, it's not just America. That's the thing. It's worldwide. It is. If you enjoy something cool, fantastic. If people like the change, cool, fantastic.
Yeah.
If people don't, cool. Fantastic. I have to say that myself.
It's unfortunate that this is not going to stop. So we're going to get this to the day we die. And then plus some. So
yeah, it's true.
Unfortunate, human nature. But
but hopefully I can actually be a mature adult next week and be like, hey,
me too.
Excuse me. That's kind of.
I need to be a mature adult too. So,
just be like, you know what? I can enjoy this show and put this past me, but I get a feeling it's only going to get worse. The more I see it, the more I'm going to be like, oh no, it's so
scared.
It's that Rogue One meme. It's like we're so close to greatness. Like it's just there. Like, hey. Maybe I look like the idiot at the end even more. Who knows?
No, nobody wants to look like nobody. I don't want anybody to look like an idiot. I don't even want to look like I look like an idiot sometimes, all the time.
Yeah. So
no,
thanks everyone.
Yeah.
What you gonna say?
I was gonna say I just want people to at least enjoy the show, and not. I don't know. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If you don't enjoy the show, cool. Just
if you don't, just be respectful about it. I don't know. Sure.
It's all good either way. Just don't be a dick about it. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, until next week, we'll catch you all later. So, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.